we're going to do a tutorial for the low-key portraits. So we're going to learn a few new things and a few things that you should already know. So first we're going to open the picture that you want to use. And I just took this one during class the other day. If it pops up like the NEF or the RAW file, that's okay. It just means it's a bigger file. Just say okay. Wait for it. There we go. So the first thing that I want to do when I open my image is make sure that I'm using the rule of thirds. And if I'm not, I could crop it a little bit. I actually think I want to crop this to come in this way. Now, if yours is like set to a certain number up here, just press clear. I don't really care what size these are as long as they're cropped accordingly. The next thing that you want to do is that you want to add a black and white layer. So this little circle down here or your adjustments layer, it's either one. I don't really want you to mess with the black and white layer at all. And then again, this little half black and white circle, you're going to do a brightness and contrast layer. I'm going to move this over. Where did I put it now? Oh, here we go. I want to up my brightness just a little bit and definitely my contrast. That's going to make those blacks just a little bit deeper. You don't want to, you don't want to take your contrast all the way up. I mean, that has a certain effect to it, but we're going to be able to get that effect with the dodging and burning. So I'm just going to take it up just a teensy bit. And then you want to, where did everything go? You can go to your adjustments layer. It's the same thing as that half circle. You also want to make sure that you have everything highlighted that you want and everything in black that you want. So that brings in our dodge and burn tools, okay? The dodge tool means that you are essentially dodging the exposure. So that means that whatever you use for the dodge tool is going to be lighter. Now, there's a few things here that it's asking you if you want to do up here. The range is the shadows. So if I do it with the shadows, oops, make sure you're on your picture first. I've done that a few times or I'm not on my picture. All right, so I'm dodging my shadows. Again, it's kind of just making it lighter through here. If you dodge the midtones, it does a little bit of a different thing. So I'm going to go back in my history here. I like the midtones a little bit because it feels like it gets more of them. Again, make sure you're in your main image. Photoshop is being a little slow, sorry. So it's getting just those midtones a little bit. You don't want to make it too bright, like I might have gone a little too far there. And then I just want to highlight sort of the edge of my face and make it look like I'm really looking into the light. And then, oh my gosh, and then the burn tool makes any blacks that you have a little bit darker. So I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to kind of color this in back here. And I want to do I actually want to do my shadows for that. And I am just like blending out my hair a little bit so that it kind of just fades into the black. I also want to kind of do this a little bit here because that's too much. My Photoshop is being so slow. Sorry, guys. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger and take my exposure down a little bit. See how that looks. Yeah. Okay, so I use the burn tool to add a little bit more darkness here. So it just makes my face stand out a little bit and it makes that light in the background go away a little bit so that you're just highlighting yourself, okay? So play around with the dodge and burn tools. Again, the dodge tool will lighten up your face a little bit. The burn tool will kind of blacken the background a little bit. Then if my Photoshop decides to work, you're gonna go into the text tool, okay? The text tool, first off, will look like this. Now, don't just start typing. What I did was I went into Google Docs and I typed out, I have two eyes here for some reason, there you go. That's a good reason to check it. I typed out my my poem first. The reason you want to do that is that Photoshop will not correct any spelling mistakes that you might have. And you don't want to do this beautiful portrait with this awesome poem and have a spelling mistake in there. So I want you guys to put them into Google Docs first and then highlight it. Command C is copy. And then you want to draw a text box. So it's going to come up as this little text saying, I am clicking down and holding over. All right, I want my text to kind of go in this area. Okay. Now, if I tried to type, my text will show up as black here, and I do not want my text. Sorry, my phone's ringing. I do not want my text to show up as black. So before you start typing or you yell at me, my text isn't working, check what color your text is. I would like your text to be either a gray or a white. I kind of like the way that the gray looks. Also, you know, you could play around with your font a little bit too and see what kind of font you want. I like the font that I have. It's in 30 point. We'll see what that looks like. It might be a little too big. So once I have my color, I'm going to press Command V, and it pastes my poem in there, okay? So if you want, you can go back and you can play around with different fonts. Maybe I want it to be, 36 instead of 30. I also want you to make sure that it's not an aside. I don't really like the way that looks. Now, again, I guess take creative license with it. If you like the way that looks, by all means, you can do it. I like the way that it looks when it's centered, but it's your poem, so you do what you want. You take creative license with it. I want to center mine a little bit more, so I just press return to get it down once. Yeah, I like it there. Okay, so when you're done, you can leave that alone. If you need to edit your text again, double click on the text layer and it'll highlight it and pull it up again for you. Okay, the text is really easy. If you want to change, you can go, say I want to change here, it'll give you like a little preview in the back. But and the text should go with your, if you did like a really crazy text, but your portrait is very simple, it might take away from it. So use your, artistic sense when it comes to the aesthetics of your picture and how you want it to look, okay? So after that's all done, you can merge your layers, save it as a JPEG, and turn it in. This is actually, as far as editing goes, a pretty easy project, but because you had the poem and because the picture does take a little bit more creativity and it's a little bit more of like a piece of art, I only am having you turn in one. So take your time when you're doing the poem and when you're looking at dodging and burning. Just because you only have one to do doesn't mean that you should turn it in a day, okay? That's it.